Hey, it's Chris here, and I want to level with you. I want to talk about the state of this channel, the future of it, and I think I owe you an explanation, especially if you have been following this channel for a long time. I don't remember last time I did one of these videos where it's just unscripted and I'm talking to you like this. It's been a while. This channel's been around for like over 10 years. Okay, now the thing I want to talk about is that I've been releasing a lot of AI content, and I know the majority of people, probably you as well, is watching because of coding content. And that's how we started Code with Chris. It's right in the name. And from the get-go, it was about building apps, and it was about learning to code to build apps because that was the way to do it. But coming into 2025, even in January, I really wanted to explore AI because it was all the hype. I was getting a little antsy about getting left behind. And so I committed to diving into this world to learn more about it, not for the purpose of changing the direction of the channel, but more so I could educate myself and get up to speed so that I can have like a more objective view of where it stands within sort of this whole learn to code, learn to build apps industry, or not industry, topic interest, let's say. And so that's what I've been doing for the past few months. And that's why, because it's all that I'm doing right now, that's all that I'm talking about. So while it may seem that I'm fully into the AI hype, that is actually not the case. My intention is to explore this as much as possible, and then take a step back and see where does it fit into the bigger picture. And so that way I can speak about it intelligently to you. And so when people come and say, hey, I want to build an app, I can make proper recommendations and I can guide people down the proper path. Now, in these AI videos, it might seem that I'm super hyped for it, but I think I am to blame in that regard because this whole YouTube thing, the more emotion you put into a title, the more like hyperbole you put into the title, the more enthusiasm you speak with. I mean, that's just the YouTube game, right? And so I apologize if it comes off as like I'm fully into AI. That is not where my head is at. If you take a look at the product that I sell, CWC Plus, which is my training program, the core product, the main seller, the thing that is bringing in all of the revenue and keeping the business afloat is a coding program. Teaches people with no technical background to learn to code Swift UI, use Xcode, build apps. And it's been very successful. We've had a lot of success stories, such as Raf and Flo, who built Flomino. They won Design Award from Revenue Cat. And more recently, a doctor and built Murmur Master, who's going to help a lot of people with early diagnosis of potential heart issues. But on the flip side, I've also lost a lot of students along the way. And that's because people often come wanting to build an app idea and understanding that back then the app builders weren't that good. They only fit like certain types of apps that you would wanted to build, and coding was actually the best way to go about that. And so starting down that path to learn to code. But when they find out how hard it is to learn this skill, which it is, learning any new skill is kind of hard, right? There's a learning curve. And then basically they quit because they realize, okay, I'm just going to have to resign to not building this app of my dreams because coding is so hard. Maybe I have to figure out a different way, such as hiring developers to do it for me. And so I've heard that story over and over again. And so that's why seeing all of this vibe coding stuff, it excites me in a way because it's the first time that I've seen like a viable solution that I would be happy to recommend to someone whose goal is to build an app, but not necessarily learn how to code. And so I want to be able to talk about all of the options so that I can find the best solution depending on that person's goals. And number two, to be able to understand the landscape of AI and what tools are available and to be able to speak intelligently about it in the grand scheme of building apps, because there is a place for that stuff. Which brings me to the next topic. Another one of my 2025 goals was to start building apps for myself. Now, if you're a coder yourself, you've probably struggled with the same sort of thing as I have for the last 10 years, which is that you have the skills, but somehow you're just not using them to build your own apps because of roadblocks that are not related to coding. So it could be that you just don't have a good app idea, or maybe you do have a good app idea, but then halfway through you get discouraged, or maybe halfway through you suddenly get self-doubt. Or maybe you're just not able to release it because you're coding it into perfection. And as we know, that's a never-ending cycle, right? So that's kind of been my case where I have not been building my own apps, although I've been teaching people how to code for 10 years and bringing them into the world of building apps. And A lot of the students have built more apps than I have. Since exploring this AI coding stuff, I have to say that in the last month, I've built more apps than I have in the last 10 years. Right? So that has to say something. It's gotten me excited, actually, again, to test app ideas, to bring ideas to life and to bring them to market and things like that. So I think there's a place for that sort of stuff. If you saw my video, Should You Learn to Code, that I released recently, you'll know my stance is that with this AI coding stuff, you can't really build proper software. You still need to learn how to code to do that. But I do think that since diving into the world of trying to build a successful app to try to make money and get users and all that stuff, I've realized one thing, and this is kind of hard truth if you are a coder, and that is that coding is probably not the most important thing to the success of the product. Let me say that again. Coding is not the most important thing to the success of the product. What I'm beginning to understand is that it is marketing and product design. So by product design, I don't mean UI or UX design. I mean the product itself. Like, does it actually solve a pain point? Does it actually work to solve that pain point? Does the solution work? And then, yeah, is it a joy to use? The software obviously can't be buggy, it can't be broken and stuff like that. So there is a bare minimal level to the software engineering side of it, the coding side of it. But no one is going to really understand how efficient or beautiful your code is and how much better the algorithms that you've used in this app is compared to something else. Like, that all is like hidden under the hood. Kind of like the Apple products, right? Joy to use, great marketing, all that stuff, and relatively bug-free, I dare say. But you're not going to learn, you're not going to understand or care about exactly how it's built. And there's always a disconnect, right, between the marketing side and the implementation side, as evidenced by all of this Apple Intelligence stuff. Marketing is creating the hype, creating the demand, but unfortunately, they spoke too highly and they left the delivery side in the dust, and they're not able to fulfill those promises. So since embarking on this journey to build my own successful apps, I realized that initially what's important is just getting your idea out there quickly and validating it with the market through some marketing, getting users to use it, getting feedback and all that stuff to make sure that it actually solves people's problems, that people would actually pay for something like this. And then I think that you can't get away without proper engineering. Let's just say it that way. Like, you need the coding part as well, but that's not what is most important in the beginning. So I think in terms of building successful apps, I think it might be efficient to use as much AI, vibe coding, whatever you want to call it, just to get the app launched so you can do all of that validation stuff and then engineer it properly. So that's my current view with all that I've explored with that AI stuff so far. But just to bring it back to what I wanted to talk about in this video, which is the direction and the future of this channel, is that right now I am in my AI arc, if you want to call it that, of exploring these tools and using these tools. Like, the majority of my stuff is still code related. My product that I'm selling is all like learn to code properly, right? And I just need to fit in this AI part in it. It's just that currently in the last few months, I've been 80%, 90% maybe talking about doing AI stuff. So yeah, just hang in there. If you hate this AI stuff, I want you to just bear with me a little bit while I see how this stuff fits in. And then I will get to a point where maybe coming up in WWDC, there's a lot more proper coding stuff to talk about. Then I'll go back to talking about coding in this channel, and then I will weave in the AI stuff where it makes sense. And I do want to share those product development stories. The thing I struggle with a little bit is that the YouTube algorithm really likes if someone is consistent on a certain topic, because then it understands who the target audience is. And so when you release a video, it'll send it to the proper people who want to watch that video. But if you talk about different things, the algorithm has a lot harder time deciphering who it should recommend the video to. So by talking about like coding, AI, product development, it dilutes that focus. So that kind of concerns me a little bit. But if you are enjoying all of these things, then that's what's important to me. So anyways, I wanted to give you this update. Really raw videos. It's probably pretty boring, but It's been a while since I've just talked to you like this. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being supportive of the channel. And I hope you stick around. All right. I'll see you around.